dynamic continuum of life and death, or samsara and nirvana. What are they? What's the difference? So the core principle is that in Buddhism, Buddha described that life, body, and mind are not self, anatta, yet the continuity. Buddhism doesn't treat death as an end, nor transition of a soul. So no permanent soul in Buddhism. So what continues after death is not a soul, not a person, but a causal stream of mental processes called nāma-rūpa. Nāma-rūpa, driven by kamma, intentional action, craving, taṇhā, and ignorance, avijjā, being a fool because you're embedded in the mind with ego or self, Atta. As long as you still have this self-concept, it's going to continue on forever and ever until you break the cycle. This is the same mechanism that continues moment to moment in life. So death is simply a major transition point. It's sort of like this pile of boulders. That they spit out a spore before they die. So this is called dung cannon. It can spit out the spore like 2.5 meters away. So they build up spore at the top, and then with turgor pressure, like hydraulic pressure, it built inside the cell against the cell wall. So it blasts this spore out. The spore is not to form a new life there, but it's not the same as the one that died before, but it contained what experience in the past life of this mole have experienced there, like encounter certain bacteria, whatever, or virus or something. So engraved in there, in the physical system, but mind is more in a mental pathway, a lot different. So with the high-speed camera, they can see the spore being shot out a spore 2.5 meters away, which is very good distance for a small mole. So basically, this is what happened at the moment of death. The mind map summary. Aramana, like mental phenomena. At the time of death, it's basically linked to the conditions rebirth. So, like karma or the deed that you have done in the past, it just will project in your mind at the moment of death or near death. Kamma nimitta, symbol of the death, but symbol of the deed that you have done, like good deed or bad deed. How did you do it? How did you commit that bad deed? You try to accuse someone or doing something bad, killing some animals or whatever, or killing someone with the weapon, this and that, a symbol of your action there. Kati nimit, symbol of destination, what will happen in the next life, what you're going to be planned into, where you shot the spore to, more or less, according to your karma. And chavana mean like a provisional mind moment that you Your mind play into it. But it's a weak one. It didn't commit any karma. Just 5 moments instead of 7 moments that in the full thought process, there'll be 7 commitment in the mind, like you have indulged in the thoughts and so on. But this one is a weak one. It didn't result to anything, except it generated Paṭisandhi-citta, rebirth consciousness. Basically, it's the same as the death called Cuticitta. Is one moment Cuticitta, then at the moment of death, the next moment become Paṭisandhi-citta. So the left column show last mind moments, marana vithi. So they have the 5 weak chavana moments that your mind indulge in it. Very weak now. It's because you're dying there. Didn't result to anything. No more karma happening. Like you're in the first, second year, third year, but not result to anything. So no strong karma produced after that. So the final object is aramana, like your mental image in there is one of the following. Karma, like on the same as the right side. It's the deed what you have done, good deed or bad deed. Good deed that you have helped this and that person, and how did you do it? The second one, kamma nimitta, or you donate to this and that, or help charitable donation, or help with your action and so on. And the third one, kati nimitta, that's what you're going to be arriving into or becoming in the next life. And then it turned into Cuticitta. That means the death moment. Yeah, that's the rebirth conscious. That's the death. And the next one is Pati. That's the last moment in this life, Cuticitta. Cuti means dying. It's a death moment. But people interpret the opposite. They call Cuti is a birth. No, it's a Paṭisandhi. It's a rebirth. Paṭisandhi-citta, which is a rebirth consciousness, rebirth-linking mind. So that becomes bhavanka-citta, a bhavanka stream, like lay dormant in the next life, like the mind that lay dormant when you're in deep sleep. When you're deep asleep, that's the dormant bhavanka-citta, bhavanka stream or life continuum moments. So it's a whole life like that until you reach the end of your life, become Cuticitta, and then this pathway coming back, Paṭisandhi-citta, for the next following life. So that's a life cycle of birth and death in Buddhism. So the moment of death is called Cuticitta. At the final moment of life, the physical body stops functioning, so you can't maintain your life through that. So your death consciousness is called Cuticitta, which is the last consciousness of the life arises. Okay. The immediately after a new consciousness arises is called rebirth-linking consciousness, Paṭisandhi-citta. In the last talk, I mentioned this kantapo, which it is this Paṭisandhi-citta, which is arrive in a new life. Along with your karma and craving, it become this new kantapo, a new life form. It's because of this Paṭisandhi-citta. So the key point is there's no soul that travels, only causal continuity. is happen with no gap, like one candle lighting another. So on the right side, it show you, a lot of face there. That's the human realm, and below that is the bad realm. You don't want to get into the demon, asura, and then the Peta is a hungry ghost, and then the animal realm, and then hell. So keep getting lower and lower. That's an unwholesome realm you don't want to get into. So human is the best realm because you have pleasure and pain that you can experience, suffering. So without suffering, you can't see the truth of life, the ultimate truth. And then above human realm, they are like in the heavenly realm, 6 of them, like Jatu Maharachika, that the 4 guardians and different, I'll go into that a little bit later. And then Dawadungs, which is most people that did good deed will be born into. And then above that will be Yama, a little bit more refined. And Cuticitta is where all the Bodhisattva or Buddha of the future and some of the Sotapanna, the 3 mentor, will be resting there. And then above that is called Nimaradi, and then above that Parinimitta Vasavati, so it's more refined. So total of 6 levels above human realm in the gods of Deva. And above that is, these are all that I mentioned, desire realm, like if you still experience pleasure and pain, and even though that heavenly realm is more pleasure and stay stagnant there until your good karma is gone. So above that will be people that in deep jhana, they get form divine realm. There are 4 levels. And then one of them, the number 22 is non-perceptor. They only have form without the consciousness. Is like you're like you're stiff as a log. That will show you some slide. If you die in that state, your body, your whole life is just like a log. The mind is being subdued as if there's not existing. And above that, some of the those non-returner who stay in that those 5 levels above that. And then after that will be the formless divine realm, 4 of them, like limitless space, limitless consciousness, nothingness, and neither perception nor non-perception. That's the very final one. That's the formless divine realm. So there are 3 big groups called sensual desire realm, form divine realm, and formless divine realm. So intermediate phase, there's none in Nirvana and in Theravada in our tradition. Like once you die, you'll be reborn in different realm, as mentioned. Intermediate phase in Theravada, it varies in the tradition. Theravada, our tradition, the worthy elders, no intermediate state. Antarapava, we don't have that. Rebirth happens immediately. After the last mind moment, you either be reborn into a angel realm or lower realm, depending on your deed, or even divine form or formless realm, whatever, depending on your karma or what your achievement in this life. So in the Mahayana Tibetan view, there's it's called Bardo, intermediate state, lasting 49 days. So that during that period, consciousness experience vision shaped by its own karma, light, sounds, deities, fears, and desire may happen in that during 49 realms. Okay, I think they do the dance there, like you see in Tibetan dance, that kind of visualize that state and so on. They are not external judges. These are not external judges. They are your own mind projected without a body. So your mind kind of display what happened and so on. So only 49 days. After that, you'll be reborn. So rebirth into this kind of, like, instead they group into 6 realm only, like the unwholesome realm, like from the human down, animal, hungry ghost, hell. The demigods should be asura, should be under human. Somehow they're listed as the second one. The gods, they cover from heavenly realm to form divine realm and formless divine realm. They lump into gods or deva. There's psychological patterns: pleasure, complacency. So all school agree on this, on rebirth, and our school and Northern school, same. No reincarnation. So they will go over the difference there. What continues a stream of conditioned process, not a self. So on the God's realm or Deva realm, it's pleasant but spiritually stagnant. So you stay in the same state, happy through that state until certain time, like a long time, until your karma is gone. Then you die and reborn. They would bless, please reborn as a human. You get chance to get rid of this cycle. Okay, and then the next one is we'll skip to the third one, human realms, balance of joy and suffering. So best realm for enlightenment. Below that should be demigods, asura. Is resolved from your psychological pattern of jealousy and competition. You have a strong ego and conflict. So it's below human realm under demigods. On the heavenly realm, there's the one Chatuka Maharachika. There's the earth yaksha. That's different. That's the one that protector of the earth and forest and so on. That's different than this asura. Asura is lower. That the other group in the heavenly realm, they have mental power, psychic power. This one doesn't have. This one is more. Asura is like they kind of flee from people and so on. Hungry ghosts. Oh no, it's not hungry ghosts. It's jealous, competition, strong ego, and conflict. And the next one is animal, full of ignorance and fear, limited capacity for wisdom. So even elephant, they pretty smart. You know, there's a story about in the Buddha's time, there was one elephant took care of him, and Pali Light, he gave him a Buddha when he was in the forest, like sugar cane and so on, bring sugar cane to the Buddha and so on, and bring food to him. But when the Buddha returned to his monastery, Buddha told him to stay, because not to harm himself by mingle with the people, and he knows that the elephant won't be able to attain enlightenment. So it's the capacity that they cannot surpass because of the limited brain power, perception like memory perception is not, or sanya is not as smart as human being. So the lower than that's a hungry ghost, a preta, the insatiable craving. They're like there's a needle-sized mouth, always hungry, but could not eat anything, can suck in a little food, liquid only. So they never get, they're always hungry, basically, because they didn't get enough food. So symbol of addiction and obsession. And hell is the last one, intense hatred and suffering. So it's not eternal, even that. When the karma exhausted, they'll be reborn as a better realm after that, to get chance to advance themselves. So they said this matches the source describing the realms and their psychological nature. Okay, so it's shown on the right what it is. But they kind of grouped again. They grouped that they were together from heavenly realms, the 6 heavenly realm, the 20 form divine realm, and 4 formless divine realm. So total is include everything there. It's 31 realms in Buddhism described. So Buddhism distinguishes rebirth from reincarnation. I go to the left column first. Reincarnation is not a religion, but somehow in Tibetan tradition, it was unfortunate they renamed it reincarnation of the previous Holiness Dalai Lama of the past and so on. But in fact, they meant rebirth of Buddhism, because in Buddhism, no permanent self, only karmic momentum continues. So in reincarnation, that's a permanent soul moves to a new body, just like in the Hindu tradition or the Brahmin tradition, the ancient Hindu tradition or Brahmin tradition. It's like a person, same person wearing different clothes in different life form. But in Buddhism said no, it's different person. It's your karma dictate into a different person. So it's a dynamic continuum of karma, momentum continues on into a different life, just like a spore spitting out into the new life form, based on the last life action and so on, and experience. So in reincarnation, you are reborn, but rebirth is a stream of consciousness continues. And then reincarnation, identity persists, but in rebirth, identity dissolves and reforms. So that's the diagram of Tibetan arising in the Tibetan tradition in the Mahayana school. There are different realms in there inside, like there's a human realm, animal realms, and hungry ghost realm, and hell at the bottom. So, and some better one on the left side, you can go into heavenly realm, and so on. So Longpudun Atulo is a forest monk, a forest tradition monk of Theravada of Thailand. He very prominent meditation master. He's a student of Longpudun, Longpuman Puritato, like a first set of student of Longpuman, who was a pioneer in the forest tradition over 100 years ago in Thailand. Longpudun Atulo teaching was extremely direct, minimal, and mind-focused teaching. When it comes to death and afterlife, he deliberately avoids speculative description and instead emphasized immediate practice and direct knowing. So he would emphasize on, the mind and so on. He consistently taught that worrying about heaven, hell, or future lives is not essential for liberation. So he emphasized liberation, but yet he talked about something that is very useful. Later on, I'll go into that. So he would keep emphasizing the four ultimate truths that you can experience through your mind, which is basically this four ultimate truth is basically this exemplified form of the dependent arising. In its exemplified form of arising pathway and receding pathway. So he summed up as the mind and consequence of the mind, action, and so on. The first two of the four ultimate truth or noble truth is suffering, and the second one is cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is based on mind reaching outward, never stay at the base. It keep reaching outward with sensual desire, liking and disliking. Consequence of that is the first noble truth, the first ultimate truth, as it literally means. Suffering result of mind reaching outward because of the clinging to the self-concept. Because desire, sensual desire, liking and disliking, basically try to please the driving force, to please this phantom ego, which is not truly existing. So if you don't see that, you are driven by the phantom ego in the self-concept. That's why you end up with suffering in your mind reaching out. You don't see the truth being full. Don't see the true nature of the mind, which is selfless and not self in nature. And there's a way out. It's a third noble truth, ultimate truth, called the end of suffering, Nirodha. Result from mind, seeing mind clearly, is a consequence of that. It's from middle path that we practice. There's a fourth noble truth, a Magga, middle path towards the end of suffering. Is basically from mind, seeing mind clearly. By practicing mind to see mind clearly. With mindful awareness, you see your mind clearly. You kind of like catching your thought, sneaky thoughts arise as it arises. So you resume the true nature of the mind, which is equanimous mind. It's luminous mind and pure mind there. The result is mind seeing mind clearly. Resume the norm of the equanimous mind. When the mind sees itself clearly, that's selfless in nature. No self to be clinging to, not worth clinging to. So where karma is stored, basically, karma or your action, karma means action. What you did in the past or now, it doesn't disappear. It's imprinted like a photograph onto the tiniest atomic unit of form, subtle material phenomena that exist within the void between physical sense organ and their corresponding object. Like you have this sixth sense sphere, awareness, tongue, body, and mind through sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thoughts. So the void in that, whatever you do is imprinted there already. Like it has been saved in the micro SD, whatever, the tiny hard drive there, which is formless in nature. And so karma is as the cause of rebirth. When your body, this life die, it kind of like contain, retrieve into these spherules, karma as a cause of rebirth. At the moment of death, unwholesome karma stored in the subatomic unit become the cause that compels one to be reborn again in order to repay your karmic debts. So you can't run away from it. So what we took pictures like orb, something like that. which I try to equate to that. So atomic sphere, Luang Pu Dun, despite he didn't want to talk about, he did mention, he thought that karma, both wholesome and unwholesome, is recorded within this smallest atomic unit of form, which are hidden in the void. The subtle space between the internal sense basis, and external form. Okay. Form that sphere rules there. Nirvana. What does it mean? When the subtle atomic unit that stores karmic information is dissolved or relinquished, karma loses the opportunity to bear fruits, so leading to liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So when you break a shell, when your mind liberates, as the enlightened one would explain, it's like that. When your mind is ready to liberate by, like a chicken would break its shell, come out, and join with the voidness of the background of the universe. Become one, called Nirvana. So he explained that mind and universe are related. That's Luang Pu Dun, forest monk, pretty deep. So Luang Pu Dun Atulo kindly explained this matter miraculously, because you can see it. Just like the Buddha can see a lot of things that we don't even know he talked about 2,600 years ago. So my consciousness arose from name and form of the universe. That's what he said. How does it form? And so on, he will explain. So nirvana is the union of pure mind with the pure and bright emptiness of the original universe as one. So that's the background of the universe. Your pure mind join it. When you crack the shell, the content kind of spill over, and the consciousness just join with the background of the universe, become one, called nirvana. There are countless living and non-living beings in the universe. They are only summed up as these two, name and form. The original name is the emptiness of the universe, like before Big Bang, which is originate from avijjā, ignorance. In various form, there must be name. Once the Big Bang starts, so on, this name and form just exists. Where is the form, there is name. And there is name, there must be form. Come together. Name and form are combined. This would be the cause of reaction, changing in the occurrence of time. That is, form is attracted to each other, causing form to move and revolve around itself. For form to move, there must be name, which is as emptiness or space, separate between the forms, so that form can move. So Ma is born from name and form of the universe. It's such a delusional illusion that make people astray. So people confused because can't understand that. So non-living become living, and living with mind. From the inanimated name and form become the living name and form, living being, and like plants, and later on, from the living name and form to the living name and form with mind, so become animals and so on with the mind. Then mind changes and goes separately, remain as formless, empty name, just like a sparrows that we talk about. This is the combination of the deception of name and form. Pretty deep for a forest monk. So this is one of my teachers. He passed some 30, 40 years ago. So he's contemporary of this age. So they all can move. They have motion. He explained why. The origin of name and form of the universe is origin of various name and form, as well as countless stars, which are endless. We have stars and planets. Because of the Big Bang, they have this name and form of the empty space. Like you can see 4% as material universe that we can see. Another 96% are formless, invisible rather, universe, which is 1/3 of them are dark matter, 2/3 are dark energy, and they still haven't found it yet. They know that will exist because dark matter can attract things, and dark energy push the universe apart, and universe keep expanding because of that. Because it's overcome the attractive force. So various name and form of planets are the origin of name and form of plants, like Schnapp, like the planets, they look for origin of life. That if certain planet, they can do it with the spectrophotometry. If you have Schnapp, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, then could be possible for life form in that planet and so on, or certain moon, Saturn moon and so on. And star elements, basically, we ourselves, and plants and so as well, basically human and animals. We are, they say like iron, cobalt, whatever, minerals, they cannot be formed on this earth because this earth is not hot enough to form iron and so on. It can form some simple thing, but not to that material. So it's been stated that it's coming from supernova that bursts into the universe, and then have kind of collected from the stardust into this planet and so on. As a result, we're born of this planet. We gain that iron and some minerals in our body, which is not from this earth. It's from supernova. They know that. So it's that deep. Okay. So name and form of plants is the origin of name and form of animals with movement. So it's called living beings because it can move. The same plants and animal has the same nucleotides: adenine, tyrosine, guanine, cytosine, ATCG. Like I mentioned, like banana has 50% DNA material as same nucleotides as our gene, and rice has 35%, so is daffodil. Even worms, I think C. elegans has, 80% or something of that nature. Like chimpanzee, 98.2% or 98.5%, similar to human DNA and so on. In fact, name and form, whether it's living or non-living things, they all can move because they have name and form as a cause and effect, causing reaction in itself, making it move all the time, resulting in change like space-time aging, death, this kind of thing, from the attraction, the revolving around self in the space-time. And because of that, we age up the times, that sequence of time, cycle of death, birth. But he can see, like like scientists can see, physicists see, as we cannot see with our naked eye, we just call them non-living things. But he said, they living and non-living, they can move inside. They can say, point out, see the ceramic on the floor. You can see they vibrate, moving inside, even though we call it solid ceramic. So of this spheral, the Lopudun Atulo stated on the nature of the mind, say, based on his profound philosophical and metaphysical ideas, based on Kamma, craving, and the self phenomenon, expressed through a spinning symbolic form of an atomic spheral that's on the top left. And the lower left is from the computer generate, AI generate atomic spherules based on the quantum physics, would be looking like the spinning spherules. Some of them, his student like Rong Pa Pramod would say, even animal has this, the consciousness is like luminous, just like luminous mind as ours, but it's dimmer. Like so is angel, they're brighter, and so on. So exploring concept from the Buddhist thoughts, where craving, taṇhā, and attachment to self, and to self, this Atman or ego, perpetuate the cycle existence of samsara. They keep on evolving. A way to interpret it is atomic spheral. This could symbolize the fundamental unit of existence or consciousness, something indivisible yet dynamic, embedded with previous karma, suggests that our past karma, our past action or karma, are imprinted within this core, influencing its motion. It's a driving force with your karma and craving. Craving and self keep it spinning. In Buddhist philosophy, craving or desire and clinging to a sense of self are the forces that sustain the cycle of rebirth and suffering. Essentially, this metaphor reflects the idea that the momentum of existence is driven by past action or karma, present attachment, which is craving, creating a self-perpetuating cycle, representing this spirit. So, how do you break it? The Buddha described nirvana, the end of suffering. Basically, he described in one of the Nirvana Sutra, in Nibbana Sutra. Basically, he said, monks, such status does exist. So it's not the form realm, not earth, wind, water, and fire. So he just, instead of saying that, he just described as earth, wind, water, and fire, which is 4 basic elements during the Buddha's time. They said it cannot break down beyond that. They're individual entity by itself, earth, wind, water, and fire. That's what we knew in the past, but now we go deeper into the atomic weight and so on. Basically, reflex solidity. Wind is like the air, water is water, liquidity, and then wind also represented as vibration. Fire is metabolic heat. Okay, it's not and basically he mentioned it's not this boundless space, not boundless consciousness. It's not nothingness, neither perception nor non-perception, but that represent formless divine realm. He says not that neither, and it's not in Pali called the first one, the green one called Rupa Pop, sensual desire realm, and the yellow one is formed Arupa Pop in the formless divine realm, and then I'm sorry, the first one is Rupa Pop is a form divine realm. People that attain first or fourth jhana, mental absorption, and now the white one is the sensual desire realm is the realm on that we experience in this realm of this earth or the next realm, or the sun and the moon, which is planets, is in this sensual realm. Basically, it says not all these three realms, not sensual desire realm, the white one, not the form, divine realm, and the green one. It's not formless divine realm, the yellow one. Not these three major realms. It's a tripum in Pali, tripum. It's not these three, but it doesn't exist in such realm in Nirvana, not in such status. I do not call such status as Nirvana because in Nirvana is no coming, no going, no sustaining, no death, no rebirth, no birth. I mean, it stands still, complete by itself. And there is no location for such status. It's not ongoing. It's not a phenomenon. And that's the end of suffering. That's Nirvana explanation by the Buddha. So basically, your pure mind, join, merge with the background of the universe, which allows the universe to keep expanding. Like it's proven now that the universe is expanding. With the redshift at the edge is moving faster than previous. And so the dark energy is winning there. But it allows you to keep moving because there's a background, allow it, so infinite voidness, allow it to keep moving, expanding forever and ever. That's where Nirvana, the consciousness there, that pure mind, join with the background of the universe, become one, called Nirvana. And that's the end of suffering there. So just to sum up, so it's not those 31 realms as we showed earlier. It's in this, the background of the universe. Which allow the universe keeps expanding. They said our galaxy is in this big void there, but that's still not the background of you. It's the background of that. Allow that void and visible part, as well as invisible part. So Nirvana, in summary, when the root cause, attachment to the subtle atomic unit as self is destroyed, one is free from obligation to repay karmic debts. Internal and external conditions no longer produce further consequences, and the chain of causation ceases. So instead of atomic sphere which was cracked open, the content, good and bad karma, dispersed in the universe. And that on the right side, it could be like the quantum wave that kind of merge with the background universe. Who knows? Just my explanation. So nirvana, the Buddha described, people ask him, what is nirvana then? And nirvana is not a state of non-existence nor annihilation. So it's not nothingness or non-existence. It does exist. Consciousness cannot be created or destroyed, even after nirvana. Nirvana is the extinguishing of the fires of greed, hatred, delusion, as the Buddha explained. Like a fire running out of fuel. The cessation of suffering simply means conditions sustaining it are gone, leaving behind peace and freedom. So where is the fire now? Because there's no fuel. It just disperses in the universe, in the voidness. And that's it. Oh, okay, we have more. Forgot. Yeah, how did I come up with the spirit? So the Maitreya project in 2003, I showed this before. They want to build this 300 feet Maitreya Buddha, the future Buddha, in India. On the left side, you see that. So they brought this Maitreya project that were showing the Buddha's relics as well as the main disciples' relics at this place, at Paṭisandhi-citta, then went to Webster University and Washington University, which I show you the slide. It's back in spring 2003. So the display here, before we expand, 2003, 23 years ago. So we have this, the Buddha's relics is showing over here. Okay, there's from his bones, his spherules, it's like it's a round spheres, round ball. And some of them is from his serum, and a lot of people came. You can see a full room, but see on the top, if I can, I don't know. It won't show there. Okay, I couldn't make a slide. Couldn't make it to show. Tried to put the pointer there, but it's not doing that. I might mess it up. Yeah, you see that on the top right? That's through the flash photograph, digital. You see the left top? You see that? That's pretty bright. See that? Big one, right here. Some floating. About 150 people there. No one see it, but only in digital photo. See that? That's pretty bright over here. Big one. I don't have to point it. You can see it. We do circumambulation 3 rounds. See, when the Ajahn Nikom was blessing, people, he put the Buddha's relics on top of each kid's head, and people that come and bow to it. See that? So many in there, lined up on the top, 2 on the bottom. See that? On 3 on the top there. Then even some adult there, see that there's so many. See that on the top and the bottom here. And this is Webster U. And I thought it was weird to have spotlight not in the middle. So when I enlarge it, become like almost like hexosphere there, semi-round. And on the door, you see that by the window. See that? You kind of enlarge it to that. And this is what you see on the ceiling. Usually you see it in the higher space, not at the bottom. Okay, there's one I think near here, somewhere here, a tiny one. May not show on the picture. No. So and on the enlarge it like that. This is already large. See from that ceiling there, hanging ceiling. So there are different type of spheral that it's taken by, people call it orb or a bee, orb, but most people would just brush it off as dirt. But this only pick up really with the flash photo, not the regular. Since I switched to iPhone, I couldn't pick up any of this. It needed a flash to kind of reflect upon, to be recorded in the digital form, not with the regular camera neither. The film wouldn't do that. So basically, to try to explain how it come about, the spheros and freedom from karma. When the mind is cultivated until it becomes free from conceptual fabrication, truly empty, and when these subtle atomic units are dissolved or relinquished, the unwholesome karma stored within them loses the opportunity to give results. So is the wholesome karma also won't be able to give the result. This stops the accumulation of further karmic debt. No more rebirth, because that's that spiral that kind of like enclose this karmic karma in there. Is all gone. It's cracked open, become like sort of like a quantum wave or whatever. It disperses in the background of the universe. So that one's gone when it cracked.